to the Caribbean and the West Indies. By the Caribbean and West Indies, we are talking about nations in South America, and then a few of them were also taken later to the North America. So those were the destinations: Europe, North America, and South America. Upon getting to the New World, what happened? These people were set to work on coffee, cocoa, tobacco, sugarcane, and cotton plantations, to work to get raw material to feed industries in Europe. Some were also made to work on gold and silver mines. Others got involved in all forms of constructions. Others with skills got and some in lumber logging or timber cutting for shipbuilding. Others also got involved in skilled and domestic works. So, in fact, we can say that the labor of these people, because all the product of labor, when they moved from the New World to factories in Europe, and then these items were also moved to some of them, to go and get other slaves from the African continent. So when you look at the statistics that is available, it is said that by 1850, 80% of all American exports were product of slavery. Or 80%, that was 80% of all American exports were all product of slavery. So our people actually built these nations that we are talking about today. Between 1790 and 1860, the product of slavery has increased. I'm talking about the earning of slavery has increased from 200 million to 3.09 billion US dollars. So when people are talking and behaving as if slave has not benefited anybody, these are the statistics. People went to work and nobody paid them for their labor. They did not get nothing, no possession. Then this still went on until the year September 22nd, 1862, when President Abraham Lincoln issued an initial emancipation proclamation to declare all these people, the Black people, under servitude, freedom for them. Unfortunately, not all of them got this kind of information. So people in Texas, as at almost 2 years into this declaration, they were still under bondage until the military got there to inform them about this proclamation that has been made. And imagine being in servitude for over 4 centuries. We are talking about for over 400 years. And at long last, you were told that now you have freedom. Just imagine the excitement, the euphoria, the atmosphere at the moment. And that has been the basis for the celebration of that date, because the date has been declared, but some people did not get to know it. They were still under servitude, and until the 16th, 19th June 1865, before they got to hear about this, and that is about 158 years ago. So today, like I said, I am not right to tell this story. I have just given you an overview through the journey, how it started and where we are today. And therefore, I am here to invite somebody so special. So recently we had a conversation. The Key Mama Foundation National Ghana Parade Council organized a program, the Juneteenth event. And one of the invitees called me by the side and asked me a simple question. So Juneteenth has been given. Now it's a federal holiday in the United States of America. So are the Africans, Americans free? That's a simple question he asked me. I said, well, as somebody who is interested in the diaspora community, I should be interested in some of these questions you ask me. As far as I'm concerned, we still have mass incarceration of Africa, the Black people in America. As we speak right now, over 920,000 men are behind bars for all manner of crimes, some of them very, very flimsy. Then we also have achievement gap. We have housing discrimination, vicious cycle of poverty among the African Americans, lack of opportunities throughout the inner cities and all of that. If we still have all these affecting the African American community who actually built this city or this state nation that we talk about, then I doubt if our people are free. But like I said, I'm not the right person to be talking about this. We have Madame Daria Hopkins, who is a publicist and project management professional. And thank God she's an integral part of how this was won as an independent, as a federal holiday for the United States of America, and how the celebration should be made each year and how it should be organized. She's here with us. So without wasting much time, Madame Daria, please take over from me and share your thoughts on the Juneteenth journey with our listeners. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. And I really do appreciate that, the great run through history and giving basically like the foundation of where we are, because oftentimes people don't necessarily see themselves in the narrative of Juneteenth when it involves so many people. Very often we state from the great Dr. Opal Lee that it's not a Texas thing, it's not a Black thing, and it's not a white thing, it's a right thing. So thank you so much for that introduction.
Okay, can you guys hear me pretty well?
Yes, we hear you pretty well. The platform is yours for you to take us the journey, how when the official holiday was given, and how far the journey has gone and where we are and what we look forward or what we should expect.
Okay, well, I'm actually, the reason why I'm off camera is because I'm just leaving. We put together a college fair, health fair, and job fair, and it's a part of the lineup of Juneteenth events. And it's very important that we did that, because oftentimes people, again, just see it as just, okay, the enslaved were freed. But what people don't realize is that when the enslaved were freed, what were they to do then? Okay, like what's next? Where do I do? Who am I? And so we have an event we call Empowering You, where we give a lot of free things away. So that's why I'm actually leaving right now. And as you can see, it's not on Juneteenth Day. So one of the major things that we wanted to come out of establishing Juneteenth as a holiday was that it would be outside of just that one day. It's a full celebration. It's about empowering our people, okay? So when it became a holiday, what we saw here in America is there were still a lot of people that just didn't know what Juneteenth meant. So there's a lot of work that has to be done. And there's a lot of connections that have to be made with the continent of Africa, and also still within the United States itself, because it affects all of us. The bill was passed in 2021. The way that it came about is we raised 1.6 million signatures. I'm the one that produced that event. We actually printed off all of those signatures and dropped them off at Capitol Hill. Got a call about a year or so later that the bill was being passed, and we was there in the White House. And this just literally just a lot of work and education that's involved at this point. So it feels weird to everybody. A lot of people have a lot of question marks, and I tell them that's because we're writing history right now. So I can't really give you what's the journey's been like, because we're still in the midst of it. So.
Okay, so thank you very much, Madame Daria. So we'll come to you, because this is actually a conversation. So after we have given an overview about the topic for discussion for today, then we'll go back to our dear listeners for each and every one to share their thoughts with us. So Madame Daria, thank you once again for coming on this call. It's so important to us, because we know the integral role you're playing in the June 4th celebration, and making sure that becomes a public holiday for the people of the United States of America. I still have some few introductions to do. Thank you, Mr. Foster Kobe. Nene
Francis,
Amo.
can I come in a second?
Yes, please go ahead.
Ms. Daria, thank you. Do you have your executive director next to you?
Yes, she was. She actually waved on the camera, and she's actually Miss Opal's granddaughter. But I just left the venue. I wanted her to speak.
Okay, please
okay.
let her take over, Mr. Pai, if that's okay.
Beautiful.
I know I'm no longer with her right now. I just left the venue. Just left.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so you just get her to come through whenever she's ready to talk. We'll make space, we'll create space for her. Is that okay?
Yes, we'd have to reschedule because we're literally like I said, we're at an event right now.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you though.
All right. So we also have on the call Mr. Samuel Olokwe, one of my mentors, all the way. I think he's also, I don't know exactly where he is in the US, but thank you, Mr. Olokwe, for coming on the call. I have Madame Gertrude Ajavon. Madame Gertrude is one of the pillars of the bead industry in Ghana. Thank you for also being on the call. And all the way from Kumasi in the Ashanti region, we have Nene Amo. Nene Amo, thank you so much for coming on the call. We have one of our highly respected Queen mothers in Ghana, Queen Yabole. Queen is here with us. You can see her name as Yvonne, but she's a Queen mother all the way from Asinetrono in the Gat state. Very, very important Queen mother. Is not feeling too well, but she's managed to be with us, and that is so much amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. As and when I see any other member joining the family, I will introduce them to you. So, our dear members of this community or this family, it is time for you to also share your conversation. The question is that Juneteenth is being a journey. This is where we are today. The President Biden administration, about 3 years or so ago, has enacted this as a public holiday. But the question we are asking is, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora in America, are they really free? And if they are not, what do we have to do as a people to make sure that they are actually free as proclaimed by the law of America? How do we do it? Now it is your turn to tell us what your thoughts on this conversation. Thank you. So if you want to talk, just show your hand. If you raise your hand, we'll get to you and get back to you. Thank you. Okay, so if you go to the chat room, Queen Adesua greeting all of us from Toronto in Canada. Thank you so much for coming on the call. And then I know Galazi Note 10 Plus is my friend, Mr. Jemfi Mafo. Also, thank you so much for reaching out to us. So just put up your hand. Let's get you to join the conversation. It's a conversation. Nobody knows too much to tell. It's a conversation that we are sharing. So bring us your view. Thank you.
Mr. Pai, I would like to come in here if that's okay.
Kimama, please go ahead. So that's Madam Catherine Kujo, the brain behind the National Ghana Parade Council in New York and the Kimama Foundation. Kimama, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'd like to thank everyone. Like Mr. Francis Opai Tete mentioned earlier on. There are although we are free, but certain areas there are questions to be asked there. I know this platform is for diaspora conversation. So we want all of you, your inputs, this is a new holiday, 2021. What can you and I do to make this like July 4th in the US, like Kwanzaa celebration, Juneteenth, we want to make it bigger than it is. So in your area, in the country that you are, what can you do or what suggestion can you give us? This year we jump in and we met Miss Diarrhea, and he has given her a blessing, and we are looking forward. Next year we might be the host. You never know, the work in the process. So please, let's all chime in and add one or two. I saw someone hands up, so I'll get off so they come over. Thanks.
Okay, so two hands are up at the moment. Kimama, thank you so much for that. So let me see whose hand is up.
Galaxy Note 10.
Okay, so please go ahead.
Okay, so this is Kofi Kumafo speaking from Ghana. Yeah, in the intro,
Mr. Jemfi, your voice is sounding so romantic. Pop it up a little for us. Give us some macho in your voice more, please.
Okay, so but you know, my voice has always been down. Anyway, I'll try. So in the intro, Mr. Opai mentioned that in the US, you have a countless number of our compatriots in jail, and then even in housing, there seems to be some discrimination, and almost in all social aspects of life. But we've been at this for years, complaining about our lots as Africans, and especially Africans in the diaspora. So the question is, are we still going to complain? Are we sitting back and folding our arms just to complain? Is there something that we can do for ourselves so that we'll be at par with our white brothers? I mean, whatever happened in the slave trade era happened, and it's part of social development. I mean, even within us here in Africa, there were wars amongst ourselves, trying to occupy space, intertribal wars and all kind of things. So for them, their form of developing their space was to capture blacks who were vulnerable and send them to their place. And so it's happened. But I think we need to put that behind us and forge ahead. So how are we going to do that? How are we nurturing our young men and women on how to live decent lives such that people out there, the whites out there, would respect them and not just intimidate them? And the other aspect is, how well are we getting them educated? Because when people are well educated, society seems to give them some respect. So how well are we educating our young lads in the states so that they would be respected among the community of people that they meet? And then again, on the front of people being in jail, I mean, we just don't throw people in jail for doing nothing. Yes, there may be some injustice in the justice system, but if our people are careful as to stay off trouble, I mean, less of them will be in jail. I'm not condemning us, but I just want us to also refocus our minds on some of the things that gets us into trouble, so that our people will not be complaining all the time. And so I think, as we said, we are discussing, we are having a conversation. This is my bit, and I want us to also think about these lines so that some of our problems will somehow be eased. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you. It's like Madam Daria has. Madam Daria, can you let me know if I'm getting the pronunciation of your name correctly? I have seen your hand up again. It means you really have to. You want to answer this particular question. Please go ahead and do that before I'll go back to the rest whose hands are up. Thank you.
Okay, yes, and it's Diaria Hookfin.
Diaria. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I would like to address what the young man was stating. There's a few things that could be considered trigger words on this end. When you say things like complain, that's part of the brainwashing. You know, we didn't choose to be in this situation, right? So we all can agree to that. When people are standing up and they're talking about Juneteenth and the multitude of people that have been incarcerated, it's not necessarily a complaint factor that needs to be addressed. Rather, what are your other options? in that case. The fact that we now have Juneteenth as a national holiday puts us at the table to now discuss what those opportunities are. So it's not necessarily a complaining that's going on. And what we can all do is actually get behind things like Juneteenth that recognizes that, hey, this is a part of history, this happened, and we deserve to have the same, like our rights fulfilled as any other American or person on this planet. So I think when we start using language like that, we kind of feed into what the oppressors wanted for all of this. And I get on, African Americans about this as well, because they think it's just about Black people. White people shouldn't be involved. But I tell you right now, we would still be in chains if it wasn't for all our white brothers and sisters that rallied behind us to help us get to freedom. So I just want to just make that note about that. And then the other thing I want to address is things that we can do. We now have the opportunity to have a voice to say how this should be celebrated. And if you look at it from terms of marketing, it's so very simple. You have on a shirt that says Juneteenth. Who owns that shirt? Who created that shirt? Who licensed that shirt? Okay? Because that's very important that it's us that gets to form that narrative and gets to be at those marketing meetings and be a part of those advertising agencies, because now we can now have a real true seat at the table. So I just wanted to address those two things.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, like you rightly said, Mr. JMP, this is the beauty of the conversation. It's a family cordial conversation, and as we go forward, you understand some of the dynamics. The dynamics here in the United States of America goes beyond the issues you have raised. And by the time the conversation will be over, you will really, really see some of the injustices in the system that we're talking about. And together, we can help to cross this river. So let me go back to Mr. P.C. Asante to give us your take on the topic for discussion.
Ms. Daria has made some profound statements, and the gentleman before was also very profound. But we must be mindful that, as you said early on, over 3 billion produced from slaves, that's over 150 years ago. And the incarceration for us Black men, we have to be mindful that the prisons are production mechanisms. They produce over $1 billion worth of products that are sold like in Costco and BJ's and other retail establishments. So there is an incentive, financial incentive to incarcerate us. Although we have the mindset that we got free, we be mindful of a reconfigured slavery, so that rather than put us in chains, they put us in prison, and they put our men in prison. So there's a financial incentive to keep the incarceration of us African men in this country, and it's the same kind of calculation in Africa with the current, where we in Africa have the gold and the diamond, and we have to give them 10,000 units of our currency to get one of theirs. That's another incarceration in terms of our movement. So it's not only, the incarceration is not only here in the United States, the incarceration is back home also. We have to be mindful of that. And although we get education, we also have to be mindful that they're not going to give us the education so that we can oppress them and be free from them. So when we talk about education, we have to be mindful that the education must put us in a position to realize these things, because these are the dynamics operating here. When we also talk about freedom in the United States, we got to be very careful that the freedom we're talking about is Americans, because we as Africans that are here for over 300 years are Africans in our appearance, but we are Americans. Why should we have to fight for freedom in the Constitution as Americans? Why should we have to fight for freedom in the Constitution as Americans? The Constitution is written for Americans. And because we are deceived consistently, we go and we petition for laws because we accept that we are not American. We need to petition for something that are Americans. That's voodoo. We have to be mindful of that. And if we're not mindful of that, we will consistently be enslaved. If we don't pay attention, focus on making sure that our currency and our economy are reflective of the fact that we have commodities, we will be incarcerated in Africa forever. We will not have freedom. If we're not mindful that we are Americans here and that this nonsense that we need to fight for civil rights. The civil rights was granted to everyone in the constitutions that are Americans that are born here. We shouldn't have to fight to vote.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Mr. Santi. Please, let's all be mindful of our time because I see a few people hands up. We're trying to stay within an hour. So, Mr. Pai, take over, please.
Okay, Kimama, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate so. Mr. PC Asante, we really appreciate your conversation. We are aware the undercurrent of some of these things, but I know the spirit that has brought our forefathers this far will carry us on. And definitely together we'll win. Like Madam Daria said from the beginning, this is our collective responsibility. We need to find every innovative means as possible to overcome it. And actually, you must be in the system to understand really what is going on. Until I made the opportunity, I had opportunity to come to US myself. Sometimes I saw some of these narratives in the news, in our movies and all of that, and took them on the face value. But today I have a different perspective of the African American challenge, the challenges they are going through. And like we said from the beginning, we are holding these conversations because we need a collective front to deal with this. Two African Americans, two people from the diaspora, W.D. Du Bois and George Padmore. These were the two giants on whose shoulders Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah stood to decolonize the entire African continent of colonial rule and set Africa ready for a united state of Africa. So if two persons have been that productive, our collective effort, we can go far. And that is why we are having this conversation. Because whether you like it or not, the African Americans have been brainwashed against us in Africa. We in Africa have also been brainwashed against the African Americans. So we see and treat each other with all manner of suspicion here and there, which is not right. The Jews do not have the numbers that the blacks control, but they are controlling resources because they understand unity. Since time immemorial, we have been divided and we remain divided, and therefore we are not able to synergize our effort to get what we're looking for. And that is why we are having this conversation. The diaspora will have to understand the motherland, and the motherland must also understand the diaspora so we can forge ahead. Let me go to Mr. Stephen Yeboah. Mr. Stephen Yeboah, I saw your hand up. Sorry, it has taken me too long to call you, but go ahead and share your thoughts with us. Mr. Stephen Yeboah, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Mr. Francis, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity on this honorable platform. And please, my take is that we all know that America is one of the powerhouse when it comes to their rules, laws, and code. And so if they've already set up their rules for everybody who is in America to be free, then holidays like this, we need to revisit their rules and laws. Some of their diaspora they got opportunity to go to their radio stations and TV stations. And so when they get the opportunity, please, they should educate or revisit what they've said in the law to the public so that everybody over there will be conversant with the law against or for the people in America. And also, when we, as the diaspora or the blacks, when we meet, we must also educate ourselves also elaborate about the rules and laws in America. It's not American rules. It's not like Ghana. Ghana, everything is flexible and everything is cool, but America is not like that. And so when we meet as brothers and sisters, as diaspora, as blacks, we must educate ourselves and also forge ahead so that we'll be able to take care of ourselves, so that our brothers will not be in a prison. That's what I can say about it. And also, we should bridge the gap between the diaspora and the people in the country so that they can forge ahead and fight for ourselves. And also revisit the saying of Black Lives Matters. We must forge it, and also that one become a little bit ahead so that the Americans will know that our life also matters. That is all what I can say.
Thank you. Thank you. My brother, yes, your concerns are well noted. So, there are so many questions without answers. Because when you review the available documents, they will tell you that there were so many African arrivals in the New World. In fact, there were 5 times more blacks arriving in the New World than the Europeans. But the question we are asking is, if these people arrive 5 times more than the Europeans, why have the Europeans outnumbered them in population as we speak right now? So there are so many questions that we need to ask. Again, we're also told that there's the trans-Saharan slave trade that pushed a lot of Africans to the Arabia, the Islamic world. About 11 million of them were taken from Africa as well. But do you see traces of black people in Arabia, in the Arab world as we speak? There are so many questions, and that is the reason why Africans, whether we like it or not, we have a duty to unite those both in the diaspora. You are about 300 million now. Those of us at home, we are about 1.4 billion in population now. If you put that together, that is a whole lot of a garrison of army. Garrison of army. That something fruitful can be done with. So we are holding these conversations not because we just want to talk, but we want to bridge the gap, the understanding gap between the diaspora and then the motherland, for us to know that we have the numbers, we have the resources, we have the intellectual capacity. If it's strength, we have it. Muscle power, we have it. But we need synergy here. Okay, so thank you very much. I've seen that Mr. Marfo, Jemfi Marfo is back. And let me go. Okay, Mr. Jemfi Marfo, you have spoken already. So hold on, let me go to Mr. Abraham Osekre from Ghana Broadcasting Corporation to give us his take on the topic. Then, Mr. Jemfi, I'll come back to you. Thank you. So, Mr. Osekre, unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. Let me be just... Yeah, Mr. Francis, thank you very much. Let me be very, very brief here. Yeah, me now, Mr. Francis.
Yes, so your line is breaking badly. If you can position yourself well, we'll appreciate it. Your line is breaking so very much. Okay, I think he's having challenges with his internet connectivity. So, Mr. Jemfi, Mr. Jemafo. Oh, Jemfi Mafo.
Mr. Francis?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francis.
Thank you, sir.
You see, now we are talking about problems, but thank God that they've given us the holiday. Well, if I may, day, what will happen? What are the activities earmarked for that day? Because that is going to be very significant in the fought very much. They are forged ahead, and now they've given us a day. The diaspora, I mean the executive or whoever, the champions who were involved in this to achieve such a remarkable day should make sure be a memorable one, and should, you understand, that day should not be just a past day or maybe just a maybe, how do you call it, memorable day, or just a observation day. But we should make good use of that day. Maybe organize activities and then connect the continent, you understand, to hear that whilst they are celebrating something in America, we at the other side here also maybe be participating or something significant to mark that day. And then remember that this day is a day that will not go waste, or that will not be wasted as just another day passing. You understand? We need to be very conscious about that very day, and then we need to do something significant every year. That day comes, we'll mark it and then do something profitable or something beneficiary to mark that day. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. On that note, all of us will have to salute Key Mama and Madame Catherine Cujo. This year, he made sure that he brought Africans together to celebrate that day at the Pool Park at New York. Key Mama, Madame Catherine Cujo, thank you very much. He brought the Minister for Tourism Liberia, Minister for Culture Liberia. They were all here. There were other people from Ghana. They all came back to join the Americans here to celebrate it on the 17th of June. And on the day of the event is the 19th June, Kim Mama also went on a walk. Where I joined her on a walk to let the whole world know that next year it must be better. So, Mr. Secretary, your suggestion is very, very well placed. We're going to make sure that from next year it will be bigger and mega. We should let the whole world know how important that it is to us. It is how we celebrate it that will make others ready to give us more of the freedom we are asking for. So, Mr. Secretary, I really, really appreciate your input. Okay, thank you very much. And that is why we also brought Madame Daria to the conversation, because she and her team are doing very, very well. The Dr. Opali, who was at the forefront for making this day a national holiday in America, is still alive. I think he's over 90 years old and still alive. So all of them are doing everything possible to make this day very, very popular. But all of us have a responsibility, and that's why I said let's thank you, Mama, for what he has done in New York this year. And I know others have also learned from it. They will continue doing that. Before, I haven't seen any hand up, so let me do some quick introductions here. We have Madame Grace Asari. Madame Grace Asari, that is her maiden name, but she's actually the paramount queen of the Manya Krobo Kingdom. She's Nana Aplam II, and she's on the call. Thank you, Manye, for coming on the call. Then we also have Mr. J. Kwe. Mr. J. Kwe, thank you for joining this conversation. I'm so grateful. Madame Fidelia Sedu, you are also on the call. We appreciate you coming. And then, okay, so as and when I see you, I will introduce you. If we are getting to the end of this conversation, in fact, we have, we are even hit the top of the hour. But then I still see that Mr. Marfo want to make a statement, and probably we'll conclude on that. Mr. Marfo, go ahead and share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, so Francis, I think you rightly said it, that we need some synergies. And what I want to see here, does the African in the diaspora have an association that has a link with the African Union? But over here, my thinking has been, yeah, so if part of America is ceded to the African in the diaspora to manage it themselves and control, would they be able to stay competitive and feel okay? And my thinking is that yes, they are as competent and capable as their fellow whites. And so if that is possible, then how can they bring their expertise to bear on Africa? In Africa, can they have a cooperation with the African Union, say that we would fashion a way to free ourselves from the white domination and stay competitive with the whites? Because we come of age to be able to manage our affairs very well, so that the whites will recognize our might. Because indeed, if Africans are able to manage themselves, I think we will be very much admired worldwide. We have everything it takes to stay superior to the whites. And until we realize that, we will continue to be like this. But I think a day will come when we shall smile. Thank you very much.
And that day is you joining this conversation today, Mr. Marful. Thank you so much. Yeah, the truth is that the diaspora, as it stands right now, has been recognized by the African Union as the sixth economic region of the African Union. So we have the West Africa Economic Union, Central Africa Economic Union, Northern Africa, East Africa, and Southern Africa. The newest of the economic bloc of Africa is the African diaspora that the AU, the African Union, has now adopted as the sixth economic region. But yet, that one too, just like the Juneteenth, a lot of the people in the diaspora are not aware. It is our responsibility to make the diaspora aware that now they are an economic bloc in the AU. So when the leaders are gathered at the African Union in Addis Ababa, there is a seat for the diaspora to occupy. And this crusade too, we need to champion it to make sure that it sinks down with everybody. So yes, Mr. Jemfi, the African Union is in full contact with the diaspora. They have created an economic bloc for them. I will share with you their flag that was launched, I think last year. Yeah, either this year, February this year, 22nd February this year, or last year. I'll look for it. They have their own flag, a very beautiful flag. You see a star coming back to Africa through the west coast, where most of the slaves enslaved persons exited Africa. So yes, that conversation is happening. And if you go to the chat room, Madam Queen Adesua said, Kimama, thank you for the Juneteenth celebration. Mr. Ope Michael also said, thank you for the Key Mama celebration. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. So at long last, our time is up. And if there's no any additional contribution or subtraction, then I would like to say a very big thank you to all of you for making time out of your
Mr. Can I come in a second?
Mama, come in, please.
Hi, Miss Daria. If you're there, if you have any closing remarks for us, and give us a heads up if you have information for next year before we close.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yes, thank you guys. I think this is a very important conversation we had. Back and forth, I travel to Africa. You know, of course I expect with people Juneteenth, but I didn't think that the motherland would have a grasp on that subject. So again, more conversations like this needed. For next year, we celebrate Juneteenth all long. We are for a host city to do what's called an Opals Walk. That's where you will actually walk 2.5 miles to represent the 2.5 years of freed. So it can be anywhere. I will hope to have it be international. We do televise it but we want to make it Macy Day parade status. The only way that can happen is if we all come together and again having a seat at the table. It's not a plug for me, but just a way for you all to get in touch with me. You can reach me on Instagram at hook_ENT or INC. I have a public PR and marketing agency that I'm also setting up my base in Ghana because as I visited there, I just saw the need to just provide more marketing support and to bring those big corporations in to work with us. So again, thank you for everybody that's here on this call and look forward to doing the God's work.
Okay, so thank you so much for the time you have spent with us, and we'll continue to knock at your door for what we have to do collectively towards the next celebration. I'm talking about the 2024 celebration, and the whole Africa, let's all get involved, because getting our people in the diaspora, Africa played a role. Although the best were taken, and they left those of us thinking we're going to collapse the entire continent. We did not collapse the continent. We have been able to survive the continent, but all of us have a role to play. Come in the next edition, all of us have a role to play. So thank you, Madam Daria and Kimama. We will constantly come to knock at your door to see what we can do together to have the coming event of the Juneteenth well done. And don't run away, don't get worried. With time, we are preparing a speaker who will come and have conversation with us about the mass incarceration issues in America. The intricacies of that, the person will come and discuss with us so that you will know the reality. We can only solve the problem when we really understand the problem. So please, thank you so much, Madam Daria. People are asking that you put your email also again so they can get to you. But I think if you get to Key Mama, you definitely also get to her as well. But if you can also put your email on this thing for members, they will get to you. Thank you. So on that note, on behalf of the Holistic Migration Consult and the Organization Committee for the Diaspora Motherland Conversation and Key Mama Foundation, would like to thank all of you for spending time out of your busy schedules to be with us on today's edition of the Diaspora Motherland Conversation. We thank you so much. We have never taken your time for granted. We really appreciate it and would like to plead with you to join us again for the July edition. Every last Saturday of every month, we meet in this family house to have this family conversation. Thank you so much for coming. And let me go back to Pastor CJ to give us the closing prayer. Pastor CJ, are you there?
Yes, please, I'm here. Thank you so much, Mr. Francis. Quickly, let's say a brief word of prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this fruitful conversation. Thank you for the productive meeting we've had tonight. And of course, at the various time schedules that we have. Thank you, O God, for how you are taking us forward to achieve greatness as a family and as Blacks and even as people with great minds. Therefore, Father, between now and our next meeting, we ask that your protection, your mercy, your grace, your goodness remain our portion in the name of Jesus Christ. We give you all the praise, we give you all the glory, and we know that by this time again next month, we'll be having a very successful and productive conversation to the glory of God. Thank you, Jesus, it is done. In Jesus' mighty name, amen and amen.
Amen. So thank you all for coming. Hope to see you next month. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you again.
Thank you too, Francis.
Thank you. So bye.
Okay, so Madam's contact on the Instagram is in the chat room. You can copy it, hook_ent and the _ink. Yeah, on Instagram. Okay, so yeah, it's there, so you can get that. You can get in touch with her. But like I said, you can also go to ckkujo@gmail.com. ckkujo is spelled CUDJOE@gmail.com, and that will take you straight to Key Mama, Madam Catherine Kujo. You can also get me. As for me, the invitation I invited you, my number is on it. So the moment you have that one, you can get in touch with me. Thank you all once again, and God richly bless you. Mr. PC Asante, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. You are a regular member of this family conversation. Nene Lamte, all the way from Premier FM, Ho Technical University. You are on board, but I think you came a bit late. But Nene, thank you, okay? Thank you for coming. Nene Lamte Bueno.